Washington Journal continues.
James Lankford, Republican of Oklahoma, was elected in November with 62% of the vote. Budget Committee member, represents the 5th District of Oklahoma. Thanks for being here. Let me begin with this headline in the Washington Post. Conservatives balking at stopgap bills. It says here that Marco Rubio, Republican of Florida, Tea Party favorite, as well as Jim Jordan, who is chairman of the Conservative Caucus with more than 170 Republicans, are not going to vote for this 3-week extension. Where are you? Are you going to vote, yes or no?
Well, we're still talking that through. We've got one more meeting still today to go through the final details. It's a lot of frustration in the Republican conference. This is not a simple vote. Obviously, you're dealing with a budget in the United States. It's frustrating in that as freshmen, we're walking into a problem that really started the last session when last year there was no budget that was done. And so for the first time since 1974, a new Congress is walking in and there's no budget to run the country. So we've got multiple issues. We have debt ceiling that's coming up. We have the 2012 budget that's a lot more strategic coming up. And at the same time, we're having to deal with the 2011 budget when we're 6 months through it. So, yeah, there's a lot of conversation about where does this go? Why are we doing this at all? How do we get something resolved? We sent a budget from the House over to the Senate. They voted it down. They created their own budget. They voted it down. And so, honestly, we're still waiting in the House for the Senate to be able to respond with what they will pass.
What would make you vote yes for this, for a 3-week extension?
For the 3-week extension, I think I need to find a way that someone's saying we're getting to the end of this. We're not going to just continue to do 2 weeks, then 3 weeks, then 4 weeks, and then we're just going to trickle this along. The big issues are obviously, a lot of the policies that are being passed. But there are also issues like defense spending, FBI. They can't move forward on things. And a continuing resolution, some people know this and some people are not aware of it. During continuing resolution, you can't make major policy changes. You're stuck. So the plans that were made in 2009 when the budget was passed is still what defense has to do right now. So they can't do new plans, they can't do new strategies. If they are going to phase a system out, they're stuck. They can't phase that system out during a continuing resolution. So we've got to get something resolved just so we can move on the last 6 months and our government's not stuck in this holding pattern.
You said you have meetings today where you will hear more.
In fact, I'll be leaving straight over as soon as I walk out of here.
Who will you be meeting with? What do you want to hear?
The entire Republican conference is who we'll be meeting with. And what I'm looking for, what's the plan from here?
Are you looking at this from leadership?
Yes.
Your Republican leaders?
From leadership. We've got to hear what's the plan from here, where are we headed, what's the next step on this, and then also, all these different policies that were put into place before. And it's not just the social issues, but it's the financial issues. There are a lot of things that were put in there saying, here are some ways to be able to cut back spending that are practical. Well, where are those, and where are those coming from?
It sounds like you're leaning no. Is that fair to say?
No, right now I'm listening.
You're listening.
Yeah,
okay.
We're taking in all the information.
Are you willing to have the government shut down if you're not getting the confidence from the Republican leaders that you're near the end?
What's funny about that? I've heard the comment about government shutdown, and it seems to be resonating from outside, and honestly, a lot of the Democrats are talking about it. The Republicans are talking about passing something to keep the government going. My desire is to keep us going, to keep us at a funding level, but to continue to cut spending every time. So we've sent over one piece already. We did our work, sent it to the Senate. The Senate sat on it, and so we sent over a second piece with a short continuing resolution to keep there from being a government shutdown. It's almost like the Senate is taunting the House, saying, please, we want the government to shut down because politically it's expedient for them to be able to say, look at those mean Republicans, they came in and shut the government down. That's not what we're trying to do. That's why the continuing resolution came up the first time. That's why it's coming up the second time. We're trying to find a way to continue funding the government to keep going, but also to continue to cut spending. The plan was to try to cut this $61 billion out. That's about $2 billion a week. So far, that's what we've done. The first continuing resolution cut $2 billion the first week, $2 billion the second week. Now this 3-week one comes up, and it cuts $2 billion a week as well. So we're still on track to get the same amount of money. We just can't keep trickling it along.
Senate Democrats have said, look, we took 2 votes. We took a vote on what our chairman, Senate Democratic chairman, put forth. It's about half of what, it's about $51 billion in cuts. Then we took a vote on what House Republicans put on the floor, about $61 billion in cuts, and we didn't get to 60 either way. So, in other words, they said, we're willing to compromise. Are you willing to compromise?
I haven't seen a compromise yet. Their proposal was actually $4.7 billion was the way that it got scored. So it wasn't $51 billion. I know the president used the halfway until it actually got scored, and they found out it wasn't $51 billion. It was not even $5 billion. So we've actually cut more in this continuing resolution for 3 weeks than they were going to cut for 6 months. So yeah, there's a pretty big difference on that. The way that this works is we put a bill out, we propose it, pass it, send it over to them. They do the same and send it back. They've yet to send one back. They had one they put up, couldn't pass it. They had another one they put up, couldn't pass it. And now they're saying, I tell you what, you just do another one. And we're laughing, saying, we sent you one already. We're waiting for one to come back. It's kind of like tennis. We volleyed over the net, and we're waiting for it to come back, and it's yet to come back.
So there is willingness to compromise from your perspective.
But we've yet to see a counteroffer. Yeah.
You mentioned the political ramifications of this. I want to show our viewers this Washington Post poll this morning in the papers. Woes continue amid deep public divisions. Overall, do you think a partial shutdown of the government would be a bad thing? 63% said yes. You concerned about that at all? And the ramifications of this whole debate shows a sweeping indicator of dissatisfaction with Washington. Just 26% of Americans say they're optimistic about our system of government and how well it works.
I would absolutely agree. As an incoming freshman, I see that 100%. When I walked in just 3 months ago, my frustration was, and I've never run for anything in politics before, I'm coming from outside the system to walk in and say, okay, how can we make this work? The conversation here is how can we score political points rather than how can we get things done? And that's the frustration now, to say we're getting things done, we're sending it over to the Senate, we're waiting for them to get things done, and instead they're just talking about it. In fact, for the first piece that we sent over, it was weeks before they even took it up and even had a debate. So, yes, we're waiting to be able to say, can the Senate get some things done? And we've done our part. So now it's time to respond.
Did you think it was going to be easier when you came here?
No. No, I didn't. No, these problems are hard. I mean, the issues we deal with as a nation and our spending are so astronomical that there was no sense of, gosh, this will just be simple. We'll go in. First, there's 435 members. And if you can get 435 people to agree on anything, you're doing pretty well on it. But then you're dealing with another body, with the Senate, and then you're dealing with the President as well. And the good thing about that is our government and our constitutional system was set up to move slow. We're not set up to move fast. That's the way we're designed, so people could think things through and people could have feedback on it. That's a good thing. The struggle is when there's not a budget from last year and we're trying to do one in the middle of the year, it makes it much tougher. We're not set up to do things in 2 days. We're set up to do things in 2 months.
Some freshman Republicans have expressed frustration also that there are not so-called riders on these continuing resolutions. That would be language that would defund the national public broadcasting station, for example, or issues related to abortion. Where are you on those, and would you like to see those type of things added?
I would like to see us take a look at everything in the budget. It's not just those two things. I know a lot of people identify those two and will say, we've got to have that. There are a lot of things we've got to look at. But yes, that's on my list as well. Now, whether we do it right down the continuing resolution or we do it in the budget year that is to come where we can be more strategic in it, we'll have to wait and see on it.
You're open to those options? I
am. That's why I'm listening for leadership to say, where are we headed? What is about to be accomplished? What is the next step on it? Because some of these things are better if we sunset them. If we take them down 75% the first year, 50% the next year, 25%, and give people time to be able to prepare. When you're dealing with a continuing resolution, all we're dealing with is the funding for the next 6 months. So as people are talking about, we're going to cut this program off and it's going to go away. No, it's not going away. It's just going away for 6 months. And how does that function, and how do we do that, and what does that do to staff and employees? So those things have to be considered.
We'll go to